Tampok sa Profile Overseas Diaries ngayon ang kwento ng isang veteranong journalist na halos ibinigay ang buong buhay makapaghatid lamang ng mga balitang makabuluhan at may katuturan para ang ating mga manonood ay magkaroon ng mas gagap na impormasyon sa mga kaganapan sa ating kapaligiran. Ito yung mga impormasyon na may kinalaman sa ating ekonomiya, politika, gobyerno, at kultura at maging sa pang-araw-araw na mga pangyayari sa ating kapaligiran. Samahan nyo kaming pakinggan at damhin ang kakaibang karanasan ng buhay media ni Mike Cohen. Magandang araw, ako po si Dong Robles.
Hey folks, it's been a while since I've done a podcast on the Mike of New York channel.
In America, when we say showing up for work, it means just that. With Republicans in control of the House, basically right now you're seeing a shift in power.
Mike of New York. Ito ang isa sa pinagkakaabalahan ni Mike Cohen sa New York City. Ang kanyang Spotify podcast na malagi na siya ngayon dito sa Amerika kasama ng kanyang bunsong anak matapos magretiro mula sa nooy higanting network ng ABS CBN. Aminado si Mike na hindi maituturing na perpekto ang buhay niya sa ngayon. Bagaman isa ng solo parent at may problema sa kanyang mata, ipinapakita ni Mike ang lakas ng kanyang karakter na hindi basta nagpapatalo. Bagay na nahubog sa karanasan niya bilang isang journalist.
I'm legally blind now. I can barely see the camera in front of me. And it has nothing to do with the work I did in media. It's glaucoma. It probably became early because of some things. Whatever those things were, I don't know. But the bottom line in all of this is nalaman ko na I did so much and I would give so much to just have like more time with my mom, more time with the family that I had. It's no secret that yung aking family relationships ko with the mothers of my sons was not perfect. You know, eventually we went our separate ways. So maybe had I not been so concentrated in working 17, 16, 18 hours a day early on, I could have been, you know, a better partner, husband, lover, all those things, rather than giving all to be a storyteller. Maybe I should have told more stories to people who I love more.
Pero bago pa nangyari ito, kilalanin muna natin kung sino nga ba si Mike Cohen at ano ang nagtulak sa kanya para maging isang media practitioner.
Mike Cohen started out for most Filipinos on television as a kid who used to sing songs and occasionally would be with different children shows nung araw. So like I remember si Tito Pepe in Hotel. So I think I was like 5 years old or 4 years old. And I would just, they'd call me up and I'd sing Tagalog songs on their show. And then there were a few other things. Sometimes I would sing, I think it was Neil Diamond or si Tom Jones. Yung mga kanta ng ganyan eh. Tapos pati kay sa Channel 7 ng araw, si Uncle Bob's, yung sa children's show nila doon. So that's how I started. It was more for the fun of it. Because at that time, my dad, this was back in the 70s, was running the Gallup poll. And nung panahon na yan, yung Gallup poll sa Pilipinas, yan yung gumagawa ng mga survey. And yung mga survey, hindi lang yung survey, pati yung TV ratings. So they were the ones who did the first survey. So that's how people knew me. And ako yung comic relief. Pag may meeting dun sa bahay, sa San Juan, pupunta yung mga tao, halimbawa yung head ng itong kumpanya or whatever, they would do the marketing survey or yung TV station, radio station, titignan nila yung viewership or listenership survey. Bigla nang lalabas itong batang tisoy. 4 years old, in his pajamas, would go on top of the dining table or the boardroom table and start singing. You know? Kasi nabalitaan ko, Channel 7, nandiyan. Chance ko to. So, kahit nung maliit ako, makulit na ako. So, ganyan. Bigla na ako. And my dad would be coming back from his home office. They would be going back to the dining room or dun sa parang sa labas, sa porch. May sa parang conference room tawag namin. And they would go there. And all of a sudden, they'd see, they'd be laughing and, seeing this kid singing on the dining table in different songs to entertain them. Sabi nila, may built-in entertainment ka dito. So, biglang sabi ng tatay, wait, pasok na. Go to sleep,
Ayon kay Mike, mataas ang pangarap ng kanyang mga magulang sa kanya at wala rin sa kanyang isip na mapunta sa broadcast network, lalo na ang paghahatid ng mga balita.
I never really thought that I would go into television. In fact, yung gusto ng mother ko and father ko for me was either law or something along those lines. Yung mga professional work. So from there, it so happened I went back to the Philippines around the time I think it was 1980s kasi we left the country after martial law. Umalis kami sa Pilipinas parang ng martial law dahil wala namang survey So my dad's business was pretty much wala masyado sa Pilipinas. We only had some land in Palawan where my mom had invested, where her sister had married into a large family there. And we moved to the San Francisco Bay Area and most in California, northern and southern. Doon na kami. My dad was a management consultant.
Dagdag pa ni Mike, kahit na nasa Amerika na sila noon, madalas pa rin silang bumalik ng Pilipinas, partikular sa lalawigan ng Palawan, na popular sa turismo dahil sa magagarang beaches at malinis na ecosystem. Dito sa Palawan, magsisimula ang kanyang karera bilang isang journalist sa impluwensya na rin ng kanyang mga kaanak at kakilala at sa mga makasaysayang kaganapan na nangyayari sa bansa.
We started to learn things about yung EDSA Revolution, yung mga classmates ng father ko in college at the time, like Monching Mitra and Sunny Belmonte, kasi my dad grew up in the Philippines. Even though he was an American, he grew up there. And so these people were friends of his, classmates of his, people who used to subscribe to his survey sa Gallup. And because of that, I started to learn more about things that were going on. Where my aunt was staying in Makati was a place called San Miguel Village. And doon sa San Miguel Village, ang daming mga journalists from ABC News, CBS, different American TV networks, Canadian, whatever. And they needed someone who could translate. At that time, medyo mahigpit sa Pilipinas, hindi basta-basta kang makagalaw. It was, although not martial law, panahon ng medyo authoritative government ang nandun. Well, it wasn't really a dictatorship anymore. It was already, on its route back to a democracy. And in fact, there were elections happening, but not everybody believed the results of the elections at that time.
Ito ang simula ni Mike Cohen na maging isang accidental journalist.
And because I could speak in an American accent, they needed someone who could do what they called simultaneous translation. So when the TV crews would go out and do interviews, sometimes I would be asked to go with the crew, wear another microphone, and as the person is talking, do a translation and say what the person, on the spot. Magsasabi si Juan de la Cruz or si Maria Magdalena kung anong naiisip nila, anong kuro-kuro, anong sa puso nila. lalabas mo.
Okay.
So, tinatranslate ko. And the fun part was, back then, they were already paying about $200 a day for that. So ako naman, teenager ako, early 1980s, tuwang-tuwa ako. So that's how I became what some would call an accidental journalist. Because on one of these trips, I was out with the camera crew. They had a live shot that they needed to do for one of the major American TV networks. And what happened was, well, the reporter unfortunately was not there. And they needed someone to talk at that exact moment. And they saw they had this Tisoy guy who was standing in front of the camera. The uplink time was very hard to get at that time. And so they said, use him. And the next thing I knew, I was reporting live to something that was happening in the country, here in the US. And that's how I literally became an accidental journalist. My course was political science. I was in school, studying to be a lawyer. I know how to write. I know how to do some basic reporting. We had many friends and family members who were also in the media. Some of whom were part owners of a small radio station in Palawan that was owned by the majority stockholder is a lady by the name of Lulu Ilustre. And si Tita Lulu, as we called her, she got her first job when she was still in college from my dad. And so she gave me my first job, which was as a DJ initially, and then later on doing the news. So it was all through this. It was very, basically accidental. Natisod ako, bigla lang ako nakaupo sa harap ng camera.
Mula noon, pumalaot na ang buhay ni Mike sa mundo ng mass media. Ano yung naging pakiramdam mo ng first exposure na to? What do you feel? And then, pinlano mo na ba yung career mo for television sa journalism?
Not really. I think it was more a lot of pretty girls look at you when you're on camera. And if you're a teenager, at that time I was still a teenager.
Yes,
at that time, yung uso nun yung duran-duran, di ba? Ngayon, guran-guran na ako eh. Pero nung panahon na yan, kamukha ko pa yung mga, yung mga nauuso eh. So, I actually took part in so many activities that had nothing to do with news and would cross over into showbiz. There were times when nag-extra ako sa pelikula. There were times na uso yung menudo. So there were things that I somehow got involved with. The next thing I know, katabi ko yung taga menudo. They would just bring me along. And all these producers and entertainers, it became to be almost second nature that the next thing you know, I was there. The elections of 1986, yung snap elections. And then meeting a guy by the name of Monche Meter, who was then the assemblyman from Palawan, who happened to be a classmate of my dad. And his wife was also a classmate of my mom sa Philippine women. So parehas din mag-asawa na classmates of my parents. And they encouraged me, to get involved, in something. Don't just be a silly DJ in the morning. Although, don't get me wrong, being a DJ is a lot of important job din yan, di ba? You inform people, you entertain, and do all these things. But they said, why don't you think of something a little bit more interesting and challenging? And I got introduced to people like Lupita Kashawahara, all these other producers for major TV networks here. And sabi nila, you have the looks for it, you have the voice for it, why don't you try and do television? So I started with the smallest TV network in the Philippines, which was DYPR TV7 in Palawan. And eventually it became an affiliate of ABS CBN. And because it was an affiliate of ABS CBN, nobody else wanted to do the reports from Palawan. At that time, there was still no regional network. There were just basically a bunch of us who were stringers. There was myself in Palawan. There was Mike Pusing, who was in Olongo po. There was the late Jess Malabanan, who was in the Clark area. And a very few spattering of people around the country who happened to have a Sony Beta movie or something like that and would do reports.
Aminado si Mike sa unang 4 na taon niya bilang stringer para sa ABS CBN, nabuhay siya dahil sa financial support ng kanyang mga magulang.
I had a very loving mother who supported every expense that I did to do. In fact, for the first 4 years, I don't think I practically earned nothing from ABS CBN when I was still based in Palawan. Occasionally, I'd get a TF here and there. But essentially, wala. Hindi masyadong nagkakaroon ng compensation yan.
Sa dulo, makikita sa mukha ni Mike Cohen na wala siyang bakas pagsisisi sa kanyang napiling bukasyon.
Am I regretting my years with ABS CBN or later with PTV4 or the work I did with CNN or with CNBC or Fox News or whoever else? No. That was part of my life. I have no regrets as far as the work I did, and I think I did do good. I think I was able to save the rainforest in some parts of Palawan. I was able to expose corruption and stand up to it. I think I was able to do a lot of things properly.
Bago pa matapos ang aming kwentuhan ni Mike, narito ang kanyang simpleng mensahe para sa mga nangangarap na maging isang journalist.
You know, when you say to anybody who's a journalist, there's 2 sides to every story, right? There's one that's pro and one that's con. That's not the story. It's not side A or side B. Sometimes it's that. It's what's in the middle. It's the little line that is the truth that lies between the side A and the side B. So, you know, just like there are more than 2 sides to a coin, there's a third, which is the middle. And that's how we need to look at journalism. We need to always look at both sides and see what has happened. We look at things like January 6th, or we look at things like the COVID issues and everything. And now as time has moved on, things are changing, perceptions are changing. More information is becoming available. And as we said, somewhere between those 2 sides is the truth, and it lies in the middle. And it's usually very thin and very hard to see. But you can always, like a blind man, feel it and find it. Just keep trying to find that truth. Keep trying to find that middle. And keep trying to be fair to everyone. And that's probably the best message I can give to anyone who wants to be a journalist.
Na malaman at mayaman ang karanasan ni Mike Cohen sa industriya ng media. Kaya naman, kahit na nasa Amerika na ito, malalim pa rin ang kanyang koneksyon sa mga nakatrabaho sa Pilipinas. Para kay Mike, ang pamamahayag ay parte na ng kanyang buhay. At hindi niya ito basta-basta matatalikuran. Kung tutusin, tila hindi tamang tawagin na isang accidental journalist lang si Mike Cohen. Bagkus, isa siyang true blue at passionate na mamamahayag. Sana'y muli kaming nakapaghatid sa inyo ng panibagong inspirasyon at naway makapulutang aral ninyo ang kwento ni Mike, lalo na sa mga aspiring soon-to-be media practitioner. At sa mga nais namang maging bahagi ng aming mga kwento, maaari kayong mag-email sa amin sa pmma.usa22@gmail.com. Sa mga hindi pa nakakapanood ng iba naming episode o kung gusto ninyong balikan ang iba pa naming istorya, bisitahin nyo lang ang aming YouTube channel. I-type nyo lang ang Profile Overseas Diaries. Makisuyo na rin na pindutin o i-click ang aming like button, notification, kasama na ang subscriptions. Para kung may bago kaming istorya, una kang makakaalam. You can also visit our website and even our Facebook page. Muli, Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay. Magandang araw. Ako po si Dong Robles.
Be the media.
Be the media.
After 5 years, People's Media Advocacy Asia's vision is now a reality.
People's Media Advocacy Asia Incorporated is creating a public sphere for Philippine and ASEAN unionists to record, publish, and circulate media about human rights in the workplace.
Imagine workers having their own selfie-stick journalism, reporting on their own dreams, their own grievances, and their own struggles.
When the social media hub known now as Center for People's Media was created, it did not only entice the labor groups, but it also gained popularity among college students who, after their internship with us, volunteered to be part of PMAA-CPM.
Center for People's Media consists of young, passionate media practitioners.
We think and believe that the whole aim of volunteer work is to cater our thirst and help through our talents and skills.
But the mission of PMAA-CPM in enhancing workers' skills and knowledge on social media to be a labor journalist is far from over.
Center for People's Media is also offering in-demand designs, creative video shoot and editing, and a live stream where we also provide a mini studio. The reason we offer this is to support our personal needs in order to continue our craft that we showcase.
To do all of that, of course, we still need our necessities aside from cameras.
Now the question is, are you willing to be part of our change and to be one of the new social media news organization? If yes,
Do not hate on the media. Let's be the media.